A former foreign exchange student says he is ready to take part in an investigation into a candidate running to become a Travis County criminal judge. That man claims the two had sex when he was just 16 years old and living in her home, an allegation Chantal Eldridge denies. Tony Plohetski has the story.
Mike, no charges were ever filed against Eldridge. Prosecutors declined to move forward in part because the accuser returned to his home in Brazil. But tomorrow morning, the now 27-year-old's attorney will say publicly that he's prepared to return to the U.S. if necessary. Chantal Eldridge, a career defense attorney, is seeking for a second time to become a Travis County criminal courts judge, presiding over the most serious cases.
I'm running for the 331st District Court.
Eldridge is running against a longtime incumbent, David Crane, in the upcoming Democratic primary.
Because we need sensible bond practices, stronger mental health solutions.
In 2016, she got 47% of the votes in a race for an open seat.
And then the next day...
Now, in the midst of her current race, 12-year-old allegations are surfacing that she had an inappropriate sexual encounter with a 16-year-old foreign exchange student who lived in her home. To understand what he says happened, we have to go back to October 2006. According to a police report obtained by KVUE News, the teen told police he and Eldridge were at her home on the night of the 10th. He says the two played strip poker and had sex in his bedroom. The report says about 10 days later, on October 20th, he told police they had a fight after he expressed discomfort about what he says happened. That's when the document says he complained to the company that had placed him in Eldridge's home, where he also lived with her 8-year-old son. Police spent the next 3 months investigating. According to this report that has never been publicly seen, child abuse investigators tried to record phone calls between the teen and Eldridge to help build their case. A report written by a detective says, quote, "I explained I did not want him to feel pressured into making the call, but he assured me he was emotionally able to make the call." Eldridge never answered, which police say hindered their ability to obtain potentially important evidence. More than 12 years later, the man says he is ready to speak out via Skype from his home in Brazil.
I was a teenager. I didn't know exactly what I was doing. So I just went along with it.
After he left Eldridge's home, he went to live for a couple of weeks with Jody Goldberg and her family. She recalls taking him to the police station for an interview.
Well, he was nervous and he was scared and he was embarrassed. He was really embarrassed to tell the story. He really felt like he was, partially responsible for what happened. He was embarrassed that he let himself get into that situation.
Ultimately, police closed the case for 2 reasons, according to the report. The teen returned home at the end of the semester and would not be available to participate in a possible case against Eldridge. Prosecutors also said a discrepancy between the accuser and Eldridge about a physical characteristic on her body could not be resolved. In a lengthy Facebook post about these allegations, Eldridge wrote, quote, "The accusation is false. Despite their best efforts and every resource at their disposal, the police found no corroborating evidence against me." She went on to say that the issue is designed to, quote, "throw the election and a despicable and desperate attempt to sway voters from voting from a qualified and progressive candidate on the ballot." At the time, the statute of limitations on these types of cases was 10 years after the alleged victim's 18th birthday, so prosecutors could still pick this case up. DA Margaret Moore says she won't make any decisions until at least after Tuesday's primary election. Tony Plohetski, KVUE News Night Beat.